Hey, hi all. Welcome back to BLA Knowledge Center. So in this session, today's session, we'll see like how to create a sample application in ASP.NET so that you will have some understanding points like how to start, how to open ASP.NET technology part using .NET Framework, Visual Studio, IDE, and then how to start creating a website. Okay, so let me quickly get into this. So I'm just going back here. This is my Visual Studio, IDE. So integrated development environment where I have a couple of options here, like menu bar where you can see file, edit, view, and Git repository related project, debug, architecture, analyze, tools, extensions, windows, help. So we'll see all these in the coming sessions. So this session only concentrating on creating an sample application. No, then we'll only look at that first, right? So I'm just going to file menu where I have a couple of options here, menu options. So now the job is to create a new website or new web application. I'm just creating this new and clicking on project. So where I can see a couple of templates here, recently visited templates. So my system is having different .NET Framework versions, and so it is showing all the templates. I'm just choosing ASP.NET template here because we are working with ASP.NET, not console or not library or not Windows or not core or not kind of other templates. If you wanted to search it, you can search here. If you are not able to see the template in right side, right? When you see that, it will come here, right? Template creating ASP.NET applications. You can create ASP.NET web forms, MVC, and API applications, and many more other features in ASP.NET using C Sharp, right? And just choose that, click on next, and it will ask you the project name. I'm just giving ASP.NET first application. Okay, so then it is the default path, it is having it. And if you wanted to change that, you can change the location path here, just clicking on this three dots button. So okay, and then this is the name you are mentioning here as a project name. By default, the same name will pull into here. A solution is a container for one or more projects in the Visual Studio. That's what we talked in the last session. So take this place solution and project in the same directory. Take this option if you want that. Otherwise, you'll leave that. And by default, I have a 4.8 is the latest framework, right? So you just select the framework 4.0 and click on create. And then it will ask you another kind of wizard here. You want to create empty application or web forms or MEC or API or SPA. So choosing of this wizard option, it is going to add a couple of inbuilt folders into your solution. Like if you click on web forms or MVC or kind of stuff, it is going to add app store or app data or content or scripts and fonts. Other kind of folders are going to add into your solution explorer. We'll talk that in the next session. You just select empty here because empty project I'm going to create in this session. Just choose this create. It will start creating the kind of empty stuff into your project. Okay, so close this and just go to view solution explorer where you can see your application is being created. This is the project name. By default, project name will take it as a solution name as well, and under this it is only added package just.config and web.config. Please make a note that every application in ASP.NET is going to have web.config, where it is having configurations and a couple of keys inside of it, a couple of namespace version details are being put up in this web.config or trace or debugging options, a couple of other options. So we'll see all these things in next sessions. Okay, by default it is added two files, package.config. So it is only having code down provider.net compiler platform DLL where it is referencing here. That's why it is adding in the package.config. So nothing but so when you deploy this on production or live server, it is going to install that from the packages. So NuGet packages. Okay. So that's why it is having a separate file here. So you can add it whatever namespaces or references you wanted to download dynamically and install it while you opening or running of your project. Okay, and properties, obviously it is inside having assembly info.cs file where it having some properties here based on the update information you are giving it, that this information will get updated to your ASP.NET DLL. So once it is built that, you will have a DLL, right? ASP.NET will always give a DLL along with the ASPX pages, right? In the DLL, right click on that, and if you can see that, all the information will see what version of DLL you are building, what was the product and copyright, trademark, description, title, everything is coming up. Okay. So far this is something like that. Now I'm going to add a web page. I don't see any web page here. I just created a website. I didn't see any web page here. I'm going to add it now. Okay. So to add that, right? So basically ASP.NET is made up of number of pages being and controls being placed on the web page. So first of all, we need a web page. So I'm going to add here and choose a new item, and here a couple of templates can display here on the web, like I need web form. You can choose this web form, so that it will come up with default name web form under ASPX. This is the default extension it is having for ASP.NET technology, and it doesn't change, and you also not change it. You only change the name of this thing. Okay, I'll not change. I'll just click on add. I'll once I add into here, I can see the file name is added into my solution, and this file is coming up with three files. One is .aspx page, and another thing is .aspx.cs, another thing is .aspx.designer.cs. Okay, this is purely HTML, like it contains HTML stuff. Whatever markup language you're going to mention, that it is having that inside of .aspx page. And the CS is server side. This is the language you're going to allow the server to understand and execute your website content. So this is the language C sharp I've been chosen. So that's why it is coming up in C sharp. So now here it is coming up by default in C sharp with the default event page load. My page load event is going to trigger. Okay. Another thing is designer.cs. So far I have not designed anything. That means I have not place any control on it. It is a blank page. So it doesn't have any stuff inside of it. It is only having the form one. That is the kind of web form one title, and form ID is form one. This form one related reference is in placed here. That's it. Okay, this is something we are not touching this designer CS anyway. No need to bother about it. We only looking at .aspx and .aspx.cs. This is a client side rendering. This is server side rendering. That means when you send this request to IAS only process this particular CS code, and then this .aspx code is going to render and process at browser level, not server level. That means from where you are browsing, IE or Chrome or Edge or Firefox or Safari, the browser is going to render or process this ASP.NET, ASPX page stuff. Okay, but this server side stuff is going to processed by IAS. That is a web server. Okay, this is only the kind of notation, like what controls you're putting up and placing on that one, what kind of classes being instantiated, something like that. When you click on that, it will tell you some class structure like web form one. As I said, like it is by default inherit from a page class. This web page. This is a page class. Okay. Okay, and when you click on that, right, you can see that here you have a design split source. This is the design. So far I do I didn't mention or place any control here. Not yet put any control lens. It is purely blank, right? My design is purely white. And if you click on source, this is the source. It is coming up of your markup, right? When you split that, you will see design here in the bottom part, and code you can see here. This is purely kind of dynamic reflection. When you put a control here, the code will generate here, right? So far you only have body now, no control inside of form tag. Okay, this is by default the HTML5 doc type, right? This is a page directive, as I mentioned, like page directive section it is. That means the page directives set up the environment for the page to run. The iterate page directive defines the page specific attributes used by the ASP.NET page parser and compiler. Like here I'm using C sharp compiler, it is taking in place. And auto event wire by default is true. That means it is going to add the page events by default from the CS file. Whatever event it is adding it here for the page or control, it will get automatically wired up. Okay, and the code behind is the name of the code behind file. That means server side what file you are mentioning to the IAS to process. Here in my case, the form1.aspx.cs, and inherits from where it is inheriting. So this was inherited from my project name dot web form one. Okay, these are by default coming up. No worries on that. Only thing is you need to understand what is page directive, what is language, and what is out of even wire up, what is code behind, what is inherits. And this is something, page layout. So how it is appearing the website look and feel, like, instead of div, if I put some control on it and here, how it is appearing. Let us say like h1 tag, like uh, welcome to ASP.NET demo, or ASP.NET first application creation demo, right? When you save that, you can see here automatically rendering and showing here the UI. So when you run this also, you will get same output. Okay. And another thing you need to notice here is you are having control on it now. Go to the design and you will see that. And another thing is, I this is purely client side control I placed here. This is the client side control. It doesn't have any running code server. This is a h1 tag is a client side HTML control. Now I want to add server side control so that I can write some event in the .cs. How to add it? In the view, choose toolbox where it provides some controls. You can see here so many controls are in place here. These are HTML controls. That means purely client side rendering. And these are standard controls. Like, if you put all these controls, you will see like how it is rendering. Let us say like I just putting this button. Like if you see ASP button ID so on so run it equal server. This is just adding here. Sorry, we'll place it here. Toolbox and place it here. It is adding my button here, right? So text I can say this is click me. Okay, now go to the server side .cs. You can see control is going to add here as a button, and when you click on that, you will see designer.cs also having button class. Okay, now for this particular thing, I wanted to write some event. Okay, so the event is like click event. How to write that a click event? So to write that click event, so go to your page and design page and just double click on that. It will come up with underscore click. Here you can write whatever you want. If you want to write something response dot write, right, you just click and semicolon. Okay, this is the event it is binding to my button here. Okay, click me. And if you wanted to write client side stuff also for this particular button, you can write it by just using JavaScript. Okay, now after putting all this stuff, so as I mentioned, this is something page layout, this is page directive, and this is a code section. So basically we have three sections in the ASP.NET. One is page directive, and the other thing is code section, page section, code section, and page layout, right? Page directives, code section, page layout. So code section is nothing but a code section provides the handlers for the page and the control events. Like these are the control events like click event and page load event. Okay, so using ASP.NET Page parser and compiler, it is going to fire these relevant events. Page directive specifies how the page is, processed, which compiler and which page it is rendering. It's allowing an import namespace and loading assemblies. Other stuff can also add it here, which can be discussed in the later sessions. And the page layout, basically, the layout provides the interface of the page. It contains the server controls, text, inline, and JavaScript if you want. All those stuff you can write it here in this uh, page layout. Suppose I just put some stuff here like input type. This is HTML control. I'm putting button, right? And here value I'm saying same control I'm putting click HTML button, right? This is HTML button, right? I'm not giving any run it. If you're giving a run it, this is the server side control. That means ASP.NET control, right? This is ASP.NET button. That means you can access from server side. That means this action will get processed in the server side. Here we have on click event, right? I'm just saying on click as like fn file, and I'm just closing this button. Now I need to write this function. So I shall use JavaScript. To add JavaScript, you need to put some script. It will automatically close. Here function, the function name is fn5, right? Here you can say a lot of HTML button, right? Click. Now just try to see the design. The design looks like this way. This is the h1 tag. This is the server side button. This is the HTML button. You can underline. You can put, if you wanted to give spaces, you can adjust it here from here itself, so that it will add styles to your button, right? Go and see here. It is going to add styles like, width is 121. Here width is 123. It is dynamically adding. That's why this is a kind of dynamic page implementation is very easy using ASP.NET application technology. So no need of writing plenty of code here. It is adding BR tags for break. So new line adding BR break tag. Okay. Now when I run this, click on this button here, run, so that it will start running this. The only we have one page, hence it is by default loading webform.asp page. Okay, now you can see that it is automatically opening my browser, default browser, with this URL, http localhost support number webform.asp page. Now when you hit that, it will go to IAS, right? IAS, because you are mentioning ASP extension, that means it's a web server, that means it is ASP.NET technology, which it requires to be processed in the IAS. So IAS will take this request and it will process this server side stuff first. This is only the server side stuff we have, ASP.NET button. Remaining two things are client side. So to this only processed server side in the IAS, and these two things again send as it is to the browser, this browser, Chrome browser. Browser has an inbuilt feature to process and render HTML DOM objects and show on the UI. Now this is h1 tag, it's coming up, and clicking on ASP.NET, you just click. This is coming from server. Clicking on HTML button click. This is just coming from JavaScript. Okay, this is coming from JavaScript. This is coming from server side. Okay, this is something, a sample application we can create through ASP.NET. Okay, I hope you understand how to create a sample application and how to put some controls and how to write some JavaScript here and how to write some events in the server side as well. Okay, so thanks for listening to this video, and please try to create some more examples and try to keep put other controls and see how they are rendering it. Okay, here you can change the browser if you want to change it here, browse with, so that it will tell you like install browsers, Firefox, Chrome, and IE and Edge. By default, I selected Google Chrome as the default, hence it is always showing in the Google Chrome. Okay, if you wanted to load in some other browser, you can choose that. Okay, so thanks for listening this video, and I hope you understood like how to create, and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.